an announcement about it. There we go. All right. Thank you. We've gotten through the housekeeping part of it. And like I said, today I've got the absolute joy of having Marv here with me. And Marv, you've been associated with Second Sense for a long time.
Long time. I think the first time Dave Flement and I went to computer school together in 88 and 89. And in '02, I think he came to work for Second Sense. Shortly after he did, I came down a few times to help him out with a couple things. In '03 or '04, I started becoming regular once a week.
Okay.
And so it's been pretty much ever since, except for pandemic. But even with pandemic, we found ways, with remote things and stuff like that. So I never left.
Oh, that's great. So that's quite a few years. Now, what kind of tutoring have you been doing here since you've been working as a volunteer tutor? I know that today you work with both iPhone and with the Victor Reader, but what other kinds of tutoring have you done here?
I started with computer, and I realized that, boy, you sure have to fight with Windows a lot more than iOS and the Victor. Um, so over time, I mean, it really started with computer, sometimes helping with unscrambling some things on machines. Um, but then once the Victor got released in '07 and '08, I learned it, and so I could help with that. We had a couple classes, and in '13, I got my first phone, and after a couple of years, I told Kathy, you know what, I think I know enough where I'll ready to pass it on. I didn't want to do it too soon.
Okay. Well, I know that you've helped a bunch of people here, and there have been times when, as most of you folks know, I've only been with the organization for a fairly short period of time, and I know when I am outclassed and when I don't know what I'm talking about. So there have been a few people that I've referred to you because I knew you were the subject matter expert on it. And one of these days, I'm actually going to sit down and let you spend some one-on-one time with me as well. Now, for today, we specifically told everybody we were going to talk about the Victor Reader Stream devices. And those have been around for a few years. I
They have.
believe there's three different models. Is that right?
Yes. The first one came out in, I believe, 2006 or 7. The second one, and that had no way, it didn't even have a clock on it. Um, then in 2014, no, 13, they came out with the 2, and then in 23, maybe, uh, they came out with the 3.
Okay.
One thing that has been consistent through all 3 models is the front of the device, except for like the wireless button, like the number pad, and the 3 buttons at the bottom, their functions have stayed the same. So
Oh,
what they did, they had a good design for how they set things up on the device and how you could navigate the device.
yep.
They stuck with it. They had what I thought then was a brilliant scheme of setting it up, how you arrange content on it.
Okay.
And I've seen other devices, and I'm like, none of them make the sense that this does in my mind.
Okay. So they've got three models. The first one, that was kind of the introductory model, and then two, and then three. Today, from what I've been discovering, most people have either the three or if it's been a while, they may have the two.
Yeah, there's a lot of 2s out there. The one that's pretty long in the tooth. I mean, that would be over. They haven't made it since like 2012 or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So it's pretty old. I still have one, you know,
I'm
but
not
it but
surprised.
it, but it doesn't get used.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that the front of the device is pretty much the same
Yes.
with this very simplistic and straightforward design that works for everybody. So don't want to fix what isn't broken, right? But I know that there are some subtle differences between the three and the two, for example. Since that's the models that most people have, what would be some of the very small key differences that would differentiate the two?
Actually, the difference between the 2 and 3 is minimal. The actual layout is exactly the same.
Hmm.
What is different on the 2, the rewind, at the bottom, the rewind, play, and fast forward, On the two, the rewind and fast forward are little triangles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the play is a little square.
Uh-huh.
On the three, it's not exactly shaped, it's sort of oval, but there are like little pointers to the left for on the rewind and to the right on fast forward. And instead of the play being a square,
Okay.
it is sort of it's shaped the same. It's like kind of it's a rectangle basically with kind of rounded ends.
Right.
Um, the clock key and the sleep key on the two, I think that is sort of a football shaped key.
Okay.
And on this one, on the three here, it's the sleep and clock key is the same shape as the play.
Okay. Now, one of the other things that I've noticed is that the SD card holder that's at the top of the device, on the three, it's got like a rubber cap or a cover that goes over the top of it. Am I correct in that that's a new thing with the
Yes,
version 3 as well?
yes. So in the one and the two, the slot was just open. Um, but with the three, they actually added the cover. And some people might find it actually a little harder to use because that rubber, that little silicone little flap is kind of stiff.
Yeah.
And so
But
um,
it protects all of those
it
electronics from it
well
being
it,
wet,
it
right?
well it does, but you still I wouldn't count on this. It's more water resistant than the two was.
Hmm.
It's still not recommended getting it wet.
Okay.
I've had students that have gotten them wet, and it's not pretty because what isn't protected are the ports and the speaker.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to keep this baby dry.
Okay. That's good. All right. Now let's move on to some of the functionality of the thing. It's really a little multi-tool, almost like a little Swiss Army knife. It can do a lot of different things. And just a few of them that I'm aware of is that you can use it for recording conversations and instructions. And we often will have some of our clients use them to record our training sessions. So
Yes,
that's one option. Another one is accessing the National Library Service.
yes.
Another one is accessing ebooks that people might get from other sources. Another one after that is accessing podcasts. And then last but not least is accessing music and the radio and some other media. Now, first of all, am I missing anything?
Um, Basically not. But now it's not going to access music. It can play music, but if you have music, you need to be able to like put your music on the card from your computer. So there is no way to download music on the stream.
Okay.
Podcast, yes.
Okay.
Internet radio, yes. You can listen to internet radio. But as far as it being able to download music, oh, I want to get some music from like YouTube or my iTunes. Nope, can't do it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I was correct with everything except my use of the word accessing on the music. It's playing music.
But it's a fabulous MP3 player if you got your music on it. I mean, I got about 3,000 songs on my card here.
Ah, that's a good point. So you can load it up with music that you might have recordings of from
Yes,
other places, right?
yes,
Okay.
that's absolutely possible. But you do need to either use it when you connect the Victor to the computer or use a card reader on a computer to put the stuff on the card.
Ah, so you're transferring everything onto the
Right.
card itself, and then the card goes in the top
Yeah.
of the player,
So
right?
even though it's not a must, if those of you who have good Windows Explorer skills, where you know how to use Explorer on the computer,
Hmm.
those skills will come in very handy with what you're wanting to put on your Victor.
Okay. Now, you've taught a lot of different clients how to use it. Are there certain ones of those things that are more popular than others?
Well, the first thing what a lot of people want to know how to do, especially uh, people who are unfortunately losing sight, where they can't read their handwriting anymore. They can't, how am I going to write things down? How am I going to, they use the notes feature, which is a little digital recorder.
Uh-huh.
And so for many people, they will record anything from phone numbers to doctor's appointments to whatever. Then the idea is like, okay, how to keep that manageable.
Right.
So uh, house cleaning sometimes is prudent. Stuff that's past, ditch it so you
Uh,
don't get lost in all the other, and all the other stuff.
so occasionally you got to go in and clean up the recordings.
That's helpful. I had one student that had 3,000.
Oh my goodness.
It took her version one a long time to boot up, and that thing always booted up quick, not hers.
Well, now, one of the things about using the recordings and what I try to ask clients to do if they're ever using their Victor to record their sessions with me is that I'll ask them to start out the recording by saying what the date is and where they are and what the recording
Yes,
is. And that to me is a way that they can go through just that first 10 seconds of each recording and
exactly.
hear what something is. Do you have any other tricks of the trade for keeping track of notes?
Yeah, well, and one thing with notes, if you do delete, you'll notice that they are stored with numbers.
Okay.
The highest number on your device will always be the most recent.
Okay.
So let's say you've recorded 3 notes and you delete the second one because it's not needed anymore.
Right.
The next note you record will be 4.
Got it.
It doesn't fill in, and people say, why not? Why doesn't it fill it in? Because that would be a nightmare. You always will know that the highest number will be the most recent.
Okay.
Now, if you have a lot of deletions and stuff like that, and you want to uh, bring all those numbers back together, there's a feature to do that.
Oh, okay.
So that you can do. Um, and also, if you have an idea where things are, that you can use the go-to get there to your notes.
The go-to. Tell me a little bit more
What the
about that.
go-to? So I don't have any notes on this. The go-to key is the upper left. Now you're assuming that of course, that the bottom is the play, fast forward, rewind.
Uh-huh.
The very upper left on all the devices, it's a square.
Okay.
That's go-to. And the go-to, depending on the content and where you are,
Hmm.
is sort of context sensitive. And so if you do like
Go to page.
go to page,
Go to heading.
see that it's in the book, I can go to any of those.
Go to time.
Go to time.
Search on wiki.
Yeah, you can do the search.
Go to
And then, but like, let's say you're in notes, it says go to note. If you type in 15 and then the confirm, which is the pound, bottom lower right corner of the keypad, you'll go right there.
Gotcha. So the using the keypad that's on there, even though it might not say go to, you've got a go to button. And even though the confirm button doesn't have the word confirm on it, it's the pound
Right.
sign. But that one you always know is the one in the bottom left. I believe it's just left of the zero, right?
No, no. Think of this for any of you unfortunate lefties, how the world is against you. So remember, right is good. That right is yes.
Okay.
Cancel is me.
Okay.
So yeah, in the right-handed centric world, the yes button is the right.
Okay. So confirm is the bottom right.
Right, and the cancel is, and the Victor will give you sometimes, press blah blah or cancel, press any other key or cancel.
Uh-huh.
Um, and one of the things that if you listen to your prompts, you won't make a mistake, because before you take an action, it kind of makes you make sure, especially if you're deleting something.
Right.
It's like a note. Delete note 3. Press confirm.
Gotcha. So just like working on a computer where they want to make sure that you're deleting something
Yes.
and not deleting it by accident, you get a confirmation.
The Victor's pretty good at that. And if you change your mind,
Mhm.
any other key or the cancel key will back you out.
Great, great. So that works well. So I want to ask this question, we're almost getting into that. So, but before we leave the different things you can do, I read off like 5 or 6 things there. Are there other things that you like to use your Victor for that I didn't mention?
I use this for books. I do so much more with my phone. I don't use well, I actually do have a couple of test podcasts on here.
Uh-huh.
I'm not a big podcast guy, but if I were to do it more, I'd be using it on my phone. But I love reading NLS books
Okay.
because I like buttons.
Okay.
The Bard mobile app is fine. I like it, but I like when I'm reading books, I like my buttons a lot more.
The tactile buttons.
The tactile buttons.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the way that it's easy to do the navigation. I know we're probably going to get that in.
Yeah, well, that's a great lead into this. I mean, it does so many things, but it doesn't seem like it's all that difficult to use. So it doesn't seem like it's all that difficult to learn and master, right?
Right.
So it doesn't sound like it's difficult, but for some people who maybe didn't get the benefit of someone like you teaching them, can you give us just a quick overview of some of the key things that you have to remember
Yes.
when you're navigating around on it?
Okay, so let me start with this. If you ever aren't sure what the keys are and you want to just play with it and push the keys,
Mhm.
press the 0 and hold it.
Key describer on.
You hear that key describer on. So now if I hit the play stop.
Spell entry. Spell entry.
Now why it says spell entry, but
Backspace.
oh, that's like when you're in the keypad, but it's like
2, 8,
why is it doing that here? I'm gonna come out of here because
Don't you hate it when that happens?
yeah.
It happens to me all the time when
Yeah.
I'm teaching somebody too.
Okay, now I think my key describer will be more since we were on the bookshelf, it was probably doing it more like for text. But I'm gonna go back into key describer.
Key describer on. Play. Stop. Jump forward.
That's
Hold
the
to fast forward. Jump backward. Hold to rewind.
yeah. So like if you are listening to a book and if you tap the rewind, it'll take you back like 5 seconds at a time. Or if you hold it, the longer you hold it, the more you can rewind and fast forward. Now we're going to get into, but I want to get into the navigation. And this is one thing, if you get nothing out of this, is the whole idea that they put in for navigation. This is what I think the best part of this design is. The 2 and 8 work together. 2, 8, and 4 and 6. 2 and 2, the 2 is
Scroll up. 2.
scroll.
Down. 8.
Okay, so that is 2 and 8. 4.
Move back. 4.
Move back.
Forward. 6.
That's the 6. So think of it as, I'll come out of key describer and show you here. So now that I gotta come out.
Key describer off.
Okay, so if I'm inside of a book now. So if I press my 8,
Phrase.
if I use the 4 and 6, it'll navigate by phrase.
Bookmark.
If I have any bookmarks, the 4 will go to the prior bookmark. The 6 will go to the next one.
Time jump. 30 seconds.
So if I do the fast forward,
Library of Congress and a sage singer as a baker. She works through the Nelson town would ever suspect. Mysteries, trying to escape a reality of
I went back
memory.
and forward 30 seconds. If I press my 8 again,
Time jump. 1 minute.
1 minute,
Time jump. 5
minutes,
Time jump. 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Time jump. 30 minutes.
So if you fall asleep, you can use your 2 and 8. If you have the 30-minute time jump, you can move down to 30 minutes, press your 4, and you go back half an hour of reading.
Now, you were describing the 2 and 8 buttons to me once before. You used a phrase, how far and how high.
Right. So the 4 and 6, they move. And the 2 and 8 say how far, how high. So like, for example, now it's on time jump 30 minutes. If I hit the 2,
Time jump 10 minutes.
10 minutes. The 4 and 6 will go 10 minutes, not 30.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
the 2 and 8 tell the 4 and 6 how far to go. And that's consistent with all kinds of content, even in the text. If you were to go into the user guide, you'll see headings, you can even spell words and move by character with the 4 and 6. But you
Okay.
do that with the 2 and 8 because the 2 and 8 tell that 4 and 6 what to do.
So that's great. So whether you're using notes or you're listening to, let's say you're using the notes, you made your notes and you now want to go back and listen to them, you can use the 2 and the 8 to understand how many notes to go backward for.
Well,
and
actually, it doesn't tell you how many notes, but it will go to one of the choices, the main choice, the default choice is you move by note.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the 6 will move you forward a note.
Yep.
And the 4 will move you back a note. But let's say you have recorded a session with Eric.
Okay.
And your session is an hour. But you want to go, 15 minutes in. You would hit your 8 to go down to time jump. If you have the 5 minutes set, hit the 6 3 times, you've moved your 15 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay.
You can also use go to time if you know that with the go to key, and then type in the number of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way to do it.
Okay.
But the 2 and 8, once you understand, if you understand the 2 and 8, how the 2 and 8, 4 and 6 work together, you will understand so much of the device and how you get around
Right.
in any kind of content,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's music, whether it's anything.
Now, how does someone change between, let's say they've done both NLS books, National Library Service books, as well as recordings. How can they move back and forth among those channels fairly quickly?
Very good question. So this is another good design thing that they did. Everyone knows what a bookshelf is, right? Whether you're blind or sighted, you all know what a bookshelf is.
Yep.
So imagine the bookshelf, your cabinet is in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in a book. I'm going to actually, the first press of the 1, that's the bookshelf key.
Talking books 115. Books 100.
The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult.
So actually, that first press of 1, it closed that book and put it back on the shelf. So now I am on my Talking Books bookshelf.
Okay.
Where I can use my 4 and 6 to go between the books.
Okay. And select whatever book you might want to read now.
And open up another one. So you can only have one book open at a time. But guess what it does for you when you close it? It saves your spot.
Ah. So you don't even have to put a bookmark
No,
in it.
you don't.
It automatically saves where you were.
Right. Now, there again.
That's handy.
Yes, it is. Now, you can set bookmarks if you wish, like if there's something you want to go through, to refer to later. But in normal reading, you just want to make sure that you get back where you were, right?
Yep.
So it does that for you.
That's cool.
And all you do, even if you don't close the book when you shut it down,
mm-hmm.
that'll be part of the shutdown process. Or even if you just come out of the book, you press the 1, and it will, when you go back to the shelf, that spot in the book is saved.
Okay, now what if I want to move from my National Library Service books over to a recording that I might have made of my training session?
Okay, so there again, it's the number 1.
Music 2. Books.
See,
1. All music.
So that's where I have my music. Any shelves that have content are in this rotation of the number one key. The only one,
Save podcasts. 9 episodes.
so see the
Podcasts dateline ABC1 underscore.
so
talking
there I have some
dateline
saved
underscore
podcasts.
File. 3 files. 1.
Victor underscore reader underscore V1.4.1 underscore build 240.
Oh, sure,
Underscore
yeah.
EN underscore US dot text.
So that's where you put in the text bookshelf, that's where you can put docs files.
Ah,
So the Victor couldn't read the old 2003 doc files, but since 2010, the docs files it will read.
okay.
So if you want to put them there, then that's where you would put them. That's text files.
Notes SD card. Generic. 0 notes.
So you hear it said 0 notes? That the notes is the only shelf, like let's say you put a brand new card in there and you keep hitting 1, you only hear notes, 0 notes. The other shelves are there, but if they're empty, they don't make you go through them. Like there's one called other books where you put, if you rip CD books,
Yeah,
CD audio books,
right.
you put those in other books.
Okay.
Like Daisy EPUB books, you put those in talking books.
Okay.
Like where the NLS Bard books go.
Gotcha. Okay, so we talked about, or you talked about the 2 and the 8 being the how far and how high,
Mhm.
and the 4 and the 6 being backward and forward.
Right?
And it seems like the number 1 is kind of a channel selector. It helps you pick between the channels of either your recordings or your books or your
Exactly.
podcasts and your music, right?
Yes. So think of any content is its own shelf, like podcasts are a shelf.
Okay.
Your talking books are a shelf.
Okay.
Easily visualized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's so your number one key goes between the different books or the different shelves in that cabinet.
Okay. Now, are there special meanings? Is there another special meaning for the number 1 key?
Nope. Except if you press and hold it, you'll go into the user guide.
Ah, I thought I'd heard something about that.
Yes. So do you remember when I went into the key describer, there are certain keys that if you press and hold them, they will have special functions.
Right.
So for example, if we press and hold the 1,
Entering user guide.
and now we're in the user guide. And
Okay.
if I press play,
Victor Reader Stream User Guide.
Okay.
and that's just, and it uses the text to speech voice, to read it to you.
Right.
And of course, here's where the 2 and 8 gets interesting. So in text documents,
Screen. Line. Sentence.
I'm going using the 8.
Phrase. Bookmark. Word. Spell. Character.
That's a lot of choices for somebody to
Right.
work their way through, right?
Yeah.
So
but
you
that's-
can be as specific or as generic as you want.
exactly. So for example, so if we do,
VIC.
That would take forever.
right, so I just was pressing my 6.
Right.
Okay, if I do my 4,
OTCIV.
but now let's press the 8.
Level 1.
Oops.
Character. Spell.
Victor Cat VICTOR.
But now let's go to the next word.
Reader Cat READER.
See, so it'll read you the word and spell it.
Gotcha.
But now, could that happen with talking books?
I would think it probably could, but why would you want to do that?
Well, think about that.
You wouldn't want to.
No, well, can you spell human speech?
You can only spell the words that go along with it.
Correct.
And then they'd have to do a double transcription.
Right,
One
so-
from spoken word down to print, and then from
Right.
print.
So
to
in
the-
talking books,
Yeah.
in audio content, those options are not in the 2 and 8.
Gotcha.
So see, the 218 is also smart. It's however, any content, the kind of content will determine that. And also with books, how they are marked up.
Got it.
So for example, a book that most people probably, at least are aware of, whether they read it or not much. NLS has the first reader for the library was named Alexander Scorby, and he did a complete reading of the whole King James Bible. It's about 71 hours long, and in the navigation, with the 218, you can go by beginning of book, end of book. You can go by testament, book, and chapter.
Wow.
And then, of course, time jump.
Right. So that's an awful lot of variability that is built in, and it can help anybody to navigate where they might want to go.
Exactly.
So long as they remember how they're going to do that.
Exactly. And so, if you don't know how your content is marked up, you use your 218 to figure it out.
Okay.
You'll notice on some books, if you listen to NLS books, in the beginning of the part that we never listened to,
The front matter?
yeah, the front matter, it'll say this book is marked up with level 1 at the headings, or and it will tell you how the book is marked up. But who listens to that, right?
Right.
But there are a lot of books which will have part, chapter, subchapter.
I guess that really depends upon either the reader or the author from the standpoint of how much the book has been fragmented. If you
Right,
will.
right. And also, if it is a newer book, it's more likely to actually have those markups than the old stuff that they brought back from cassette that they digitized.
Okay.
So there's not going to be the markup in some of those older books.
Okay.
But with the new ones, especially when it's chapters and parts, and however the author did it, chances are the library will mark it up properly.
Okay. Okay.
And your 218 will take you to that. And of course, you still have your time jumps. Now, if you don't want your 30-minute or 10-minute time jumps, or your 30-second, I don't really like the 30-second. In settings, you can enable and disable all of those time jumps.
Okay, now there's an interesting question that comes out of that. We talked about the one, if you press it a long time, it'll get you the instruction manual, so to speak, the user guide.
Yes.
Are there other buttons that you would have to press in order to get to, for example, the settings where you can
Nope.
make those changes?
Well, number 7, that's not a press and hold. The menu is, the menu key, you can also call like the settings.
Oh, okay.
And for those of you that have the 2, in the 3, they restructured the menus a lot. With the 1 and 2, there were a lot more using the 2 and 8 to go through some different items. With the 3, they don't. The 4 and 6 do the whole thing. I see why they did it. I'm getting, I've had this thing well over a year. I still sometimes have to nose around, where did they put this? And to tell me, no, the 2 and 8 don't do anything in the menus. And sometimes like if you, sometimes if you do the confirm, it'll take you a level deep. Then you use the confirm to make the choice, and then still use the 4 and 6. And then if they have like the on and off, then you would press the confirm to select it. The menus would be something that if you want to work on them, I can certainly, one thing I can do remote sessions with the Victor, because we weren't trying to use the device we're talking on to work. So if we both can hear, I'm more than happy to work with you on any of that stuff on the like on your menus and all that stuff.
So let's make sure that we give people an understanding of what we mean by that. When we talk about doing remote sessions, we can do it on the
Or on the
telephone, or we could do a Zoom call like this
Yep.
sometimes if we
Mhm.
want to. But since you're not using the Victor device to actually make that connection, then you can both have your Victor in your hand and you can talk about it and follow instructions.
Well, and if you have it up enough so I can hear it, I can tell you, do this,
Yep.
I can, talk you through.
Yep.
I've even talked people through setting their Wi-Fi up.
Okay.
Um,
And some of my clients have worked with me remotely when they haven't been able to make it into the office, and it does add a little bit of complexity, but it's something that with patience we can both work our way through.
exactly.
But that's the key thing that it takes is some patience. You know, one of the things we only touched on briefly was the SD card. And I know that both the 2 and the 3 have an SD card reader, but maybe not all of the people that are online know what an SD card is or how it's used with the Victor. Can you take a minute to
Well,
describe that?
So the SD, so actually the 1 and 2 had to have the card. It's basically the 1 and 2 without putting a card in it makes it dysfunctional.
Okay.
But with the 3, since it has a little larger internal memory, you can still use it without a card, though not recommended.
Gotcha.
So the SD card is, they used fortunately they used a standard card that people have been using for years in cameras. So the secure digital is the card, and this one uses a full-size SD card. With the 2, they didn't recommend that you use anything larger than 32 gig. With the 3, you can go up to 1 TB. I don't know why you would need that much, but some people, insist on having
And by TB, you mean
a
terabyte, right?
terabyte. Yes,
And that's an awful lot of books.
which is,
and if you're talking about recordings that you're making, that would be kind of an unsearchable volume.
right. And one thing that the 3 does take longer to boot up than the 2 did.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of they took away a feature that a few students used. You used to be able to copy NLS cartridges to the 1 and 2.
Right.
You can't do that with the 3.
Okay.
They took that capability away.
They
said, oh, not many of our clients wanted that. Well, I know at least of a few.
Okay. I want to just ask one more question, then I want to open it up for our audience to be able to chime in with any questions from them. And actually, I might get 2 questions. So one, is there anything you wanted to make sure that you covered that we haven't?
One thing I do want to cover now with the 2 and the 3, the middle button between the go to and the bookmark key, it's round. If you press it,
Exiting user guide. Generic 0 notes. Online bookshelf.
okay,
Barn 9 books.
so
1.
About grace.
there are
Door.
with the 2 and 3, there's not only bookshelves, there's 2 cabinets. There's the online, which is it's the stuff that can be stored in the internal memory, but also you would use for when you're connected to Wi-Fi, like internet radio, like searching Wiktionary or Wikipedia. Yes, you can type in Wikipedia searches on here. But with text entry, it's like the old cell phones, 2 is ABC, 3 is DEF.
Yep. That's a little bit of a painful process to go through for some people.
It is, but there again, it's doable. Don't really, that's kind of beyond the scope of what I want to show you here. But if you want to learn that, I can certainly help you with that.
Yep.
And you do need to know that some because of things like putting in your setting up your Bard
Right.
Services, and if you have Bookshare or if you have NFB Newsline, you can these online services, the online cabinet.
Podcast 2. Podcast
There's podcasts.
Internet radio.
So you can listen to internet radio.
Internet 1. Playlist. TuneIn radio.
Now, and with the 3, They have functionality to connect to tune-in radio.
Mm,
That is a little dicey. I mean, it's kind of a convoluted process, but it's doable.
okay.
References,
NLS Bard 9.
yes,
books.
and back to NLS Bard. And this is where you can actually go to download, books directly to your internal memory.
Gotcha.
And it works for a lot of people. If you don't have a computer, it's a good way to go.
Mm-hmm.
They always put them on the internal memory, but I certainly recommend that people move those books to their cards. Because the internal memory, even though the 3 has 16 gig, that's not that much.
Yep.
And one thing you never want to do is fill up your internal memory, because if it gets corrupted, your device is basically toast.
Got it.
So you don't want to overfill that. Because one of the things the Victor is not good at, if something does barf, it doesn't really tell you why.
Ah,
It just, it barfs and you don't know what the heck's going on.
yeah.
Sometimes with the card, it's like it quits. You put the card in the computer. Oh, yeah, it needs a little check disk. The Victor doesn't. It's awful at that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So for when it's working great, it's great. But with the internal, you'd never want to actually have that happen, because that's ugly.
Okay. Now, my last question before I open it up for everybody is, and I don't mean for it to be if you will, a repeat everything above, but what would you say are the keys to success for somebody using the Victor Reader Stream?
Understanding the navigation,
Okay.
having a good sense of hitting the right button. That's just like when you type, right?
Yep.
When you mean to press the 2, hit the 2
Yep.
instead of the 5 or the
Okay.
1.
Well, and that's where the tactile buttons come into
The
help.
tactile buttons help. I know
Okay.
for some people it's hard, but yes. So accuracy, accuracy, accuracy.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, thank you very much, Marv. And we're going to now open it up to anybody who wants to ask questions from those who are still online. I'm going to repeat the instructions for how to do that. If you want to raise your hand and you're on a phone, press *9. If you're on a PC, press Alt-Y. If you're on a Mac, it's Option-Y. And if you're on a smartphone or a tablet, look for the reactions button in the bottom middle of your display. And then the very first option in the reaction buttons is going to be a ability for you to raise your hand. So feel free to raise your hand and let us know, and we can call on you. Or if we get crickets here, you can just unmute yourself. You have the ability to unmute yourself, and that's to go in and do either a *6 on the phone, or an Alt-A on the PC, or a Command-Shift-A on the Mac, or to use the mic button in the lower left corner. All right, so we've already got a hand up from one of our guests, Pamela Berman. Pamela, go ahead.
Hey, so thank you, Marv. I love my Victor streams, and I recently purchased a number 3, and I noticed it's got the ability to like categorize in notes, I
Yes, it does.
believe. Does it have the ability to label your notes? I know on my 2, I would take them out and use a card reader and do that on the computer, which was great. So I have 2 questions. Number 1, can I do that on the stream now? Label the actual notes?
I believe not. I don't believe so. But you can, I believe you can do categories and type in, categories. You can move them to that, you can make it, you can make the categories. But as far as I know, you don't, in the
Okay.
notes folder, it only can read those numbers.
So if I may use an example, if you want to take your notes, and let's say some of your notes are recordings of your vision rehab sessions, and you want to take those notes and put them together under a heading called vision rehab.
It's like a different folder.
It's creating another folder.
Yes,
Okay,
under notes.
gotcha. Okay.
But Pam's asking if you can actually, name, like put name. I don't believe you can. I have not
Yeah.
played.
Yeah, I'm actually asking two questions. Number one, can you do that? Number two, could you talk a little bit about how you set those categories in the notes?
So we'll go to notes.
Podcast 2, offline bookshelf.
So let's go back to,
Notes SD talking books.
Oops,
Music. Save podcast. Text files. 3 notes SD card.
okay, so,
Eric 0 notes. Delete category and notes. Delete notes in category. Delete category and move notes. Consolidate notes. Rename category. Delete category and notes.
I will have to look. I haven't created the category.
Okay.
Actually, Humanware, there is a tutorial that was done by, I forget what these people that they're in Buffalo, but there is a comprehensive tutorial for the 3, and it has a lot of information. I actually downloaded it here. I put it in my folder. So if anyone were, here for the stream, I could throw that tutorial on your card.
Well, and at the same point, if it's something that you feel that we could do a follow-up posting out on Tech Exchange, we could easily send a note out to let people know how to do it.
Yeah, but also what my first thing will probably be to do is for me to read the user guide and see if they explain that.
Right, I'm sure they do. I have not done
that'll be
that.
my first thing, because since I don't know how, I just tried using the 3, because that's how you delete and move and things like that. But there was nothing in 3 to create a category. So you can't do it with the 3. So when I figure out how,
Okay,
I can put that out.
that works. Our next question, Anne, you raised your hand next. You can unmute yourself and ask the question, please.
Well, I feel a bit silly because I use the Victor all the time, but is there a clock on this one, on the 3?
Yes, there is.
How do you, where is it?
Well, okay. On the 3, so now some people don't like the change they made from 2 to the 3, but I think it's better. There are a lot of times where you would try to check the time on the 2, and it would give you the sleep. Like, I don't want sleep. I just want to know the time. Now on the 3, if you press and hold that sleep key, it will read the time. So for example, let's see what mine says.
12:55 p.m. August 21st, 2025.
Yeah, so I'm not in the right time zone on here. The stream's clock is not very good. It's famous for losing time. So
it just thinks you're in the Colorado area on the slopes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But in the 2, you used to be able to go to the time settings by pressing and holding that key, but now you got to go into the menus, into settings, and get there.
Okay. So Anne, I think that answers your question about a clock, right?
Yeah, so the settings are like under 7 to set it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
And I believe date and time is under system, and then you would confirm, and then date and time, and also as you go in levels deep, you need to press the cancel to back out a level. We didn't have time to, maybe another session, we can go through the menus a lot, Eric.
Okay.
That might be a topic for us at some point,
Okay.
because there's a lot in those settings.
Yep.
And like I said, even though I've had it for a long time, I'm still getting used to the new menus.
Absolutely. Okay, we have another hand up. Andrea Connor, I see your hand is up. Could you unmute yourself and pose your question, please?
Thank you. And I had a chuckle because I had my Victor stream for, oh my gosh, 6 months or more before I figured out how to get the time on the clock or read the time because it wasn't as easy as the second gen was. And it was a little trickier to find how to set the time, set the clock, so it was
That's
accurate.
right. It's in the settings. That's actually the way it should be. I like having to not try to expect the time and where on the two. I don't know what would cause it, but you go into the sleep timer cycle. And that's another thing I hate about that too.
Gotcha.
But people
Anyway.
they complain about that change like crazy.
So Andrea,
well,
what was your question?
I think it's better now. I know it's Bluetooth ready,
Yes.
capable. I typically use a wired earbud, a 3.5, and the new placement of the jack is sometimes gets in the way my plug works if I still want to charge it at the same time while I'm listening. But do you know if any wireless earbuds will, outside of the Apple, will work with the third gen Victor Stream?
I think you might have more luck with other ones than the AirPods. I actually the Victor is not as robust with the kind of devices. They did say they fixed it some with the latest update. It's an over-the-ear headset, an Anchor Q20 that I use on the plane. It's a noise canceling, Bluetooth set, and it works very well with it. So, you just have to try the device. It's
Okay.
some people have had very good luck with it. Some people haven't. Well, I won't recognize this device.
Now, here's a corollary. Do they connect to Bluetooth hearing aids?
I don't think so.
Don't think so.
I don't
Okay.
believe so.
Okay.
They haven't connected to mine. I was hoping, but they did not. Do you have any quick tip on how I go about connecting or attempting to see if the Bluetooth
Well,
earbuds I have will.
you know how to make sure your device is in pairing mode. A lot of times, if it's on when you first turn it on, it's sending out a signal, hey, come and get me. So the Bluetooth, it's in settings. You find wireless, Bluetooth, add a device. And then sometimes when you're in that menu, add a device, turn the thing you want to try to pair with on, so it doesn't, just in case the device doesn't, in case it doesn't keep the signal going for too long.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty. I think I understand. I'll give it a try. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
There again, it's not quite as, it was trickier on the Victor than it was my phone for a lot of things.
Yep.
But it's doable.
Okay, we are at the top of the hour, but we do have a couple more hands up, so I want to give everybody a chance to answer or to ask their questions. Thank you, Andrea Connor, and now Andrea Kelton has a question.
Alda, audio now unmuted.
Hi, Marv, could you repeat how to spell the word? I didn't quite, when there's a word you want spelled, like if you're reading something.
If you're reading a text file, remember, if it's audio content, you can't. But if it's like text to speech, you would use with 2 and 8, go down to you could use the 8 to go down to like word. And
Okay, I'll stop you right there. So that's the part I missed. If I'm reading a book from Bard, I can't use that.
No, you cannot.
Okay, thank you. And then I just had one more request. Would you gentlemen do another session on more on the menu and on podcasts too? Because I keep needing refreshers on how to add things like podcasts.
Well, here's an interesting point for you, an answer to that. Next Thursday at 1 o'clock, I'm doing a session on podcasts, but it's not specific to the Victor Reader. It's a generic one about podcasts. and about the kinds of podcasts that are out there and available, in particular for those who are in the blind and low vision community, because there's quite a number of them. And we also know that people who are in this community not only like to learn more from others who are in similar situations, but we like to listen to podcasts just like anyone else. And it's a very good way to get access, both through a Victor Reader or through your Apple iPhone or your Android phone for that matter,
Or a PC.
or even a PC. So we're going to try to cover podcasts in general then, but I think your point about having a follow-up session makes really good sense. We had a really nice turnout today. Want to thank everybody for coming out, and want you to also be aware that we're trying our best to make certain that these things are available for people to access in the future if they want to come back to these sessions. So we're working on a solution for that, and you can anticipate hearing more about that in the next month or two. Anything else from a question standpoint from those of you in the audience?
Jose Nonato has left the meeting.
See ya.
Anyone else have a question? Okay. All
Hey,
right. I see a hand being raised. Actually, Lee, can you unmute yourself? That would be to use the Alt Y on your PC. Not sure.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Hold on, you are muted.
There's Tim Walsh who's unmuting. So Tim, did you have a question?
Yes, sir. And the Alt-Y just isn't working for me, but I appreciate you calling me. Thank you both for this, and I'll echo the request for follow-up sessions. But this is fantastic. Couple quick questions, and I'm coming from the standpoint of someone who has never seen one of these in person, can't wait, but I'm thinking of establishing my internet connectivity, and I'm in a townhouse where everybody in the neighborhood has their own network, so I'm thinking of how I select my network and enter my alphanumeric case-sensitive password. Am I using the menus?
Yes. Yes, the answer is yes. It's actually pretty straightforward. That would be something when you're more ready. That'd be something I could certainly be willing to talk with you about, because there's some good things. How to verify what you're doing. How to there's a key describer in the text entry. It's very doable. It's painstaking, but once it's done, it should be done for good.
Yeah.
So why don't we add that to the agenda of things that we would cover along with the menus? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, because that's actually something that is in the, it's in the menus, but I don't know if it would be helpful, for in a session like this for me to take a Victor that doesn't have like our Wi-Fi key in and enter it.
Yeah.
So you can hear how it's done. I mean, that
Yeah.
certainly could be done.
Okay. All right.
Can I ask a couple more quick ones?
Oh, sure.
Thank you. So you mentioned moving something from the internal drive to your SD card. So, again, I'm thinking of Windows Explorer, and I get the difference here, but is there how
Yes.
kind of the folder hierarchy, and how much control do I have over that?
Not much. You really don't. If you use the device itself, I mean, when you're moving things from the internal to the it's actually the same key as the delete, which is the 3. You just press it another time, and then it's move to SD card, and then it puts it in the right place.
Okay. Would I perhaps be better off with multiple SD cards for different functions versus one large SD card, or?
Not really.
Okay.
I know some people who've done it that way, but you don't really need to. especially even a 32 gig card is big, but now, try to get an 8 gig card these days. You can't. You're going to start with 32s. But the stream, and actually when you put the card in it, it actually creates the folders for you. It's
Okay.
reserved folders, so you don't have to do that manually.
Okay. And Marv, what's your recommendation when I first get the guy out of the box and turn it on? What's your recommendation for a first thing I do to try to get started on this thing?
Well, the first thing is get used to hopefully this helped as far as some of the user key describer. Get very used to the buttons. Get an SD card if you got one that it didn't come with it. Get one.
Okay.
Whatever size you want.
And get on that key describer, correct?
Yep, get on the key describer.
Okay. And finally, the last thing is I've seen where the price seems to have dropped to $50 or so for the 3. Yes. Is there any news of a 4 coming down the road, or?
So Eric asked me that same question a few days ago.
Yeah, because Tim asked in an email, and I was trying to get prepared for it.
If we go by history, the first version came out in 2006. Second version came out in late 2013 or 2014. The 3 came out in 24.
Wow. Okay.
So the likelihood of them actually having anything ready this soon is highly unlikely.
Gotcha.
Unless they're they've really changed up how they're doing it, I'd be flabbergasted. These guys aren't Apple.
Gotcha. All right. I'll stop there, but thank you again. That's been tremendous. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for calling in, and I want to extend those thanks to everyone who joined us today, even the ones who had to leave earlier. We had originally planned for a 1-hour session. We've run over. I want to thank everybody for your patience and hanging out with us and being able to listen to the questions and hear our expert advice here from Marv on how to use these devices. One last thing, and Kathy mentioned it in her newsletter, you need to feel free to reach out to us if you want to set up one-on-one sessions with Marv or any of the rest of the people here who are a part of our team in order to learn things about the Victor Reader Stream or any of your other devices that might help you be able to live your best life. Whether it's something working on your phone with your VR, with your Victor Reader, with your computer, give us a call. We want to be able to help people to best use the devices in order to, once again, live your best life. So thank you all very much. Greatly appreciate it. And Marv, thank you very much for joining us today. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.